Yo, what's up guys, it's Boogle here, and today it is Manic Eraser. And before we hop into this guide, I just want to let you guys know that I do have a Discord. Yes, go down in the description below and join that Discord. There are monthly Nitro giveaways there, so it's pretty hype and it's pretty sick. So yeah, join the Boogle Discord and that would be pretty amazing. But yeah, let's hop into this guide. This level is actually pretty easy despite it being so intimidating with Manic Eraser's stats, and not only that but Cappy's as well, and of course the black Gories. So it may seem a little bit intimidating, but it's actually very easy to handle once you have a nice cycle. And of course, like all these guides, we start off with the no gacha lineup or the limited gacha lineup, and in this case it is the full no gacha lineup. And this is pretty much all you'll need. Now, some key things to note here is make sure your legends are at least level 27, so you will be able to handle the waves of gories and such. Otherwise it will be kind of a problem. 5 stallers is recommended to deal with the Cappies because they can get pretty annoying, and if they stack up they can just shred through everything. Just make sure it is cheap and quick. A nice substitute for the one we're using is Cat Burger, and that's pretty solid substitute and it should work in this case. We do have level 30 craze, but it does work with level 20 if you get lucky. So if you're going this no gacha lineup, you have to get real lucky with those little nice low procs and those runner knockbacks, or else you will get demolished. Now, part of that problem is fixed when bringing sniper in this battle, but if you do not use sniper and you don't have any power-ups, then you do have to get extremely lucky with all these procs. And of course we gotta bring just range units. The reason bringing craze gross is to deal with those Cappies, and stalling the Cappies in front of the eraser actually helps, and getting that crazed legs wave chip damage will help a lot. But yeah, let's hop into the level, and after this of course we're gonna do the gacha suggestion part and the whole gacha lineup too. And here we go, it is finally here, and this level is very similar to Manic Mohawk, and the reason being is that only the beginning is really the difficult part. After that, it's just CPU and watching the battle for 20 minutes. Now, the main thing that troubles people a lot in the beginning here is the first wave of gories, and the best way to handle them is with your Rudder Wolf. Using Bahamut is pretty risky in the beginning because if you do not stall in time, Bahamut will get demolished. So your Rudder Wolf is the safe way for this, and if you do get kind of unlucky, it will die too early. So do not spawn any support with your Run Wolf. You want to try to stall these gories as long as possible and wait until the next wave of enemies arrive. Now, the reason you want to do this is very simple. It's because you want to have a nice stack of units ready for when the eraser comes out, and also so you'll be prepared for the next gory cycle, so it won't just run through all of your stallers and stacked units. So this is why spawning too many attackers in the beginning here can screw you over, because if you kill them too quickly, then it's over for you. You hit the base early and you're not prepared, and that's usually how most people die. Now, the risky part about using Ronin Wolf for this is that he may knock back enemies and you might hit the base. So if you do get unlucky again as well, you can get knockbacks, and that's a bad thing in the beginning here. But if you're pretty safe in the beginning and you should be fighting the Cappies before you hit the base, that's like the perfect setup, and that sets you up for the next wave of gories when the Manic Eraser arrives. An even better run would be if you fight the second wave of gories before the eraser arrives, and that's this run right here. So it's pretty nice that we got it in this run. So that means when the eraser comes out, there's no risk of the gories just ramming through everything unprepared. Pause. But if you do not know what I mean, you will find out by playing this level. If you do hit the base too early before the gory waves, it is very difficult to keep your legends alive, because the gories do push through the stallers super easily. So that's why it's so key to have the waves of Gories out of the way before Manic Eraser is out. Now once again, pretty much the same thing as Manic Mohawk. Once he comes out and after you kill the first couple of enemies and you were stacked up on cash, just turn on CPU and sniper and you're pretty much good for the rest of the battle. And the same thing as Mohawk as well, just try not to move into his attacks. So every now and then do deactivate sniper if you do get too close, since you do not want that to happen. Now this is another reason why you want to stack up early in the beginning of the battle, because if it does come to the situation where your legends do die when the eraser comes out, you'll have that cycle ready, so when they do die it'll be close to recharging up again, as you can see Runner Wolf is back up again ready for the next wave of Gories. And that's pretty much the cycle you have to keep going. If you mess up on that cycle, there's a big chance that the Gories will just start shredding through everything and just destroy your whole stack. And if you get lucky enough with those slow procs from Little Nye, you won't have the issue of the Runner Wolf or anything else dying, so you'll be prepared without cycling. And if that does happen and your Runner Wolf and Bahamut is still alive and they are recharged up again, save them until they die or you are getting pushed back by the next Gory wave, because if you send them out too early and they die and your recharge cycle is not up again, then you will most likely die. I guess something else I could point out in this level is that you do not need to lure the Owlbros out in this level like you would in Craze Tank. In Manic Eraser, Little Nye is able to hit the Owlbros, so you don't have an issue there. And also with the Cappy stacked up in the front, your crazed legs will be able to get those waves and hit the Owlbros as well, so you don't really need to lure them out. The main thing is the Gories in this level, and in the Gacha lineup there is a perfect counter to that. Two very extremely perfect counters that can pretty much guarantee you the win. So if you are looking for the Gacha lineup, then stay tuned for that. But you can always skip ahead to the Gacha lineup if you are fully gacha'd out and you have like all the key Gacha units that were mentioned in the prelude to Manic Stages video. And if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go watch it, because there was a lot of important units mentioned in that video and a lot of other important things, so be prepared for these stages, and that video is the perfect preparation for these stages. Now you gotta keep in mind this is Manic Eraser, so it will take a decently long time, sometimes more than 20 minutes if your cycles aren't correct, so keep that in mind. And another thing I forgot to mention as well, the regular cat cannon isn't too great for this level. I would rather use slow beam in this level. It is way more helpful and it is a lot less risky than using the normal cat cannon. So if you have slow beam, definitely use that instead, because sometimes the regular cat cannon can get you screwed up. Now eventually, after a whole bunch of cycles, this thing will finally go down. That huge amount of health that Manic Eraser does have is pretty annoying, so be ready for a decently long fight in this one. But yeah, let's hop into the Gacha lineup and suggestions for this Manic guide, and yeah, that would pretty much wrap up the whole guide. Now let's hop into the Gacha suggestions and the Gacha lineup. Of course, the first thing we gotta start off with is the Cyberpunk lineup. Pretty much just smack Cyberpunk in the lineup that I showed previously. You can make some changes if you have better units, like better Ubers, like maybe a Luffy or something like that, or Afro. You can use stuff like that. But Cyber Ultra carries this stage very hard. Like, you do not need Sniper or Rich Cat or anything like that. Just Cyber and a good start, then you could pretty much beat this level super easily. Now this time we can go start off with Bahamut, because of course we have Cyber, we don't need to build much of a stack. so going Bahamut is the way. And if you're using Cyber, you don't have to worry about cycling your legends for the gory waves, because Cyber's always is just going to be chilling there in the back, constantly getting those slow procs, and that's very overpowered against Manic Eraser because he only has one knockback, and crowd controlling Manic Eraser is super difficult. So Sniper or Cyberpunk, and if you don't have Cyberpunk, Little Nye and Sniper does work as well, like shown previously in this video. But other than that, this strat with Cyberpunk is literally just stall, send out your legends whenever you have them, and let Cyber do the rest of the work. And like I mentioned in my prelude to Manic stages video, Cyberpunk is a staple unit for some of these Manic stages and can completely carry some of them, like this one. Now if you want to for sure secure your victory and not have to deal with any issues at all, even with the whole beginning with the Black Gories rush, and let's say you're having troubles there, well, there is a solution to that. There are some very good gacha units that can help out in the beginning. Now of course you'll need it level 30 true formed, but I'm sure people have that by now, and if you do not have it, your basic levels need to be at least plus 20, since there really is not much substitutes if you don't have these units. It's either level 30 crazed cats or high level basic cats or these gacha units. Now let's talk about some other units that are very useful. As you can see in this lineup, we have Pizza, which is super helpful in the beginning here, and another super helpful combo would be Pizza and Thaumaturge to completely take out the gories and deal with them. If you're having trouble with Cappy, I recommend you try to get your stallers a bit higher leveled, because if you focus too much on the Cappies, you will miss out on potential damage to Manic Eraser or the gories, because those two things are the real issues in this level. Driller is also a nice one, and any anti-black units that are AoE, like I said, Thaumaturge is pretty nice. Even Camera for these gories is pretty nice, and if it gets that survival lethal strike, if the Manic Eraser hits it, it can stay alive and hit the gories while it's alive. Now you probably are wondering why I did recommend Thaumaturge, even though it has low range for this level and it is not AoE, and I said that you should use AoE anti-black units. Well, if you are getting constantly pushed back by the gories, even with Pizza, then you do need some support, and Thaumaturge really helps slow down the gories pushing through your stallers with that weaken proc, and it can also get weaken procs on the Cappies if they are higher up and not in the dead range for the Manic Eraser, because their death range is pretty decent, and it's not too high, but it is pretty decent, so it is pretty difficult to stack up some units against Manic Eraser. That's why having Dragon is a very solid unit for this. But in this gameplay example, we did not use Cyber, and look how much we are getting pushed back because we aren't getting that many little nice slow procs. That's why it's so important to get lucky in this stage, because if you don't get those procs, it's a GG. So do keep that in mind and don't forget it, because if you do lose once and give up, just remember there is a small amount of luck involved if you are using units like Little Nye and Euronan Wolf. But Cyber with Pizza is kind of overkill, and it does overwhelm the stage a lot. Now if you are really struggling with those Cappies, then I guess you could bring True Form Bat. It can help out in this level by quickly taking out the Cappies and letting your dragons get multiple hits on Eraser, so it is a faster run, but I don't really recommend it because I would go with dragons instead, because it's pretty easy to stall the Cappies with 5 stallers, you shouldn't have a problem. And if there is a problem with Cappies, like I said earlier, you could bring Batcat and that will take care of them pretty easily. And that pretty much wraps up the whole level of Manic Eraser. This level is pretty easy. It does seem difficult, but only if you mess up in the beginning, because that is probably the most efficient way to do it. If you do hit the base too early, then your whole run is pretty much ruined if you do not take out the Gories quick enough. But yeah, that pretty much summarizes the whole Manic Eraser in-depth guide. Drop a like if it did help you out. Go down in the description below and join the Boogle Discord, and subscribe if you're new. Join the hashtag Boogle gang. And that's it for this Manic guide. It's been Drawn Boogle, and see ya.